In this video, we will learn about the simple present tense. Let's start. The simple present tense is used in the English language to talk about three different things. Number one, we use the simple present tense to talk about truths and facts. This means a real piece of information that we cannot change. It is not your opinion. It is something that is true. It's a fact. For example, Canada is above the United States. We cannot change this. Here, we are giving a fact, a truth, so we are using the simple present tense in the verb be. The second reason we use the simple present tense is to talk about emotions, feelings. For example, my family likes eating dinner together. Here, this sentence is using the simple present tense in the verb like. My family likes eating dinner together. It's giving us a sentence that is talking about an emotion, a feeling, in the simple present tense. The third reason we use the simple present tense is to talk about habits. A habit is something that repeats. It's a pattern, something that happens again and again and again. For example, my family buys me a cake on my birthday. My birthday happens every year, so this is a habit because it repeats and repeats and repeats every year. A habit can be something that repeats every day, every hour, every week, every summer, every year, etc. In this sentence, we are talking about a habit and we are using the simple present tense with the verb buy. We're using here, my family buys me a cake on my birthday. We have here three different sentences to show you why we use the simple present verb tense. So now let's talk about conjugation. How do we conjugate this verb tense? The way that you need to think about the verb conjugation in the simple present tense is that the third person singular, like he, she, and it, is the only one that will need an S. This is the only one that is different. When, for example, you use a verb like the verb work, first person means I or we because it includes me. I say I or we work. I work, we work. For second person, that means not me, like you or they. I also use only the verb, like work. You work, they work. But third person, the third person, that means somebody else, not me, not you, a third person, and it's singular. Third person singular, he, she, and it. Here is where our verb conjugation is important. We use the verb plus S. And this is true for all verbs in the English language, except for the verb be. All verbs follow this rule for the simple present tense, all verbs except for the verb be. Okay, so now we learned that this verb tense shows three things. So now I want you to tell me, read the sentences and tell me if they show a habit, fact, or emotion. You have 10 sentences here. I have given you answers for the first two. The president lives in Washington, D.C. Lives. This is showing us a truth, a fact. I cannot change this. California is the third largest state in the United States. Again, here, this is the truth. Pause the video here to finish the rest of the sentences. Now, let's take a look at the answers. Here are the answers for the 10 sentences. Pause the video here to study the answers. Okay, so the simple present tense is used a lot in the English language. If you want more real examples of how we use the simple present tense in everyday life, look at some of these questions and answers. When somebody asks, "How are you?" this is a question in the simple present tense. So when we answer, we use the simple present tense. We say, "I'm okay, I am fine, I'm good, it's not bad, it's all right." Another one we use a lot is this question, "What do you do?" What do you do? This means, do you work? Right? So you answer with what your job is. I teach, I'm a teacher, I'm a student, I work part-time. Here, again, I am using the simple present tense because I am sharing the truth about me. In this question, "Where do you live?" I also use the simple present tense to talk about truths. And in this question, "What do you like to do?" I like to hike, I like hiking, I like to cook, I like cooking, I like to watch TV, I like watching TV. Here, I'm giving you answers for my emotions, what I like. So here you can see many different examples, real examples of how we use the simple present tense in daily life. For positive and negative sentences, you use the verb after the subject, and remember, it's only the base form, just the verb, just the verb. The only one that is different is the S form for he, she, and it. And this is true for all verbs. For negative, we use the helping verb do not. I do not like apples. You do not like shopping. We don't like shopping. They don't like shopping. And again, because he, she, and it is special, the third person singular is special in the simple present tense, we need the S for positive. And in negative sentences, we use an S, but we use it here in the helping verb, in the does not like, or doesn't like. We hear the S sound here. Pause the video here to study the rule for how to conjugate the verb correctly for both positive sentences and negative sentences. Now, let's look at the verb be. The verb be is very, very different. Actually, it's important to note that the verb be is special. It usually has its own rules. It's important to remember this information. This is why the verb be is very different in the simple present tense. We don't use the same verb and only add an S for he, she, and it. Actually, the verb be changes. We use am for I, are for you, we, and they, and is for the third person singular. Because the verb be is special, it does not use the helping verb do or does. When we use negative, we use not after the verb be. I am not, you are not, he is not. Pause the video here to study how to conjugate the verb be in this verb tense. If you need to practice the spelling rules for the simple present tense, pause the video here to study the rules. Okay, now it's time to practice. Let's use the simple present tense. You need to use the verb in the parentheses to complete the sentences. Pause the video here to do this activity. Now, let's look at the answers. Pause the video here and circle any mistakes you have. Study your mistakes and bring any questions to class. Okay, so we've finished making sentences, positive sentences. So now in practice 3, let's make negative sentences. Change these sentences and use the negative form. Pause the video here to do this activity. Now let's check our answers. Pause the video here to study and compare your answers to my answers. Okay, and let's do one more practice activity. Again, here you need to complete the sentences, but you need to complete them. And sometimes I tell you, I want you to use the negative form or positive form. Negative, positive. Pause the video here to complete this practice activity. And now let's check our answers. Here are the answers to practice number 4. Remember, study any mistakes you have and bring questions to class. In this video, we learned about the simple present verb tense and how to use this verb tense in sentences. Practice this verb tense at home. Bring any questions to class. Thank you for watching.